So, really quickly. So, that right there is what Waterstone Fitness is all about, at least right now. And that's really as simple as it gets right now. It's a handstand course, okay, at its basic level. And I'm sure that a lot of you are going, well, aren't there YouTube videos that cover that? And the truth is that there are, but what Waterstone Fitness does is it goes way beyond that. So, the way that most people will practice a handstand, or really, if you want to get one, is just kicking up over and over again. And if you watch a YouTube video, it's going to give you a progression, okay? It's going to be, like, do this move, this move, this move. And this course does it too. But I want you to imagine that while you are practicing that, kicking up over and over again, which takes most people years to get to that ability right there. It's, you're in your room, something like that, you're kicking up against the wall, and then the door busts open, and suddenly a team of scientists and Mark Williams, who is the Olympic head coach for the men's gymnastics team, comes in and they start telling you what you should be doing, how to practice, how long you should hold the move, what are the best tips for getting that. And that's what Waterstone does. It goes way beyond just giving you a progression and actually incorporates feedback into the process. And it focuses mainly on sport-specific training. So it's a handstand right now, but it's going to be growing and focusing on other gymnastics elements first, because I'm a gymnast at heart. I'm a state champion gymnast, and that is where a lot of the skill comes from. So I can develop programs like this. But the model uses deliberate practice, which is the gold standard for learning. Essentially, there are three phases. They're called the 3 Fs. There's finding the problem, which is where the deep dive comes in. This is what most YouTube videos will do. But this is much more detailed than just do move 1, move 2, move 3, because a handstand and most moves in sports are a lot more complicated than just a single move. There are individual components to it. And what this does is it breaks those down into their component parts, has you focus on those until those are perfect, and then build those up into a goal move. Once you're doing that goal move, though, it's still not going to be perfect. That's where, say, step 2 comes in. That's the feedback model. This teaches you how to record your form using your cell phone and then breaking it down the same way that a gymnastics coach would if you were going to them in person. That's the 8 key areas for the handstand, or for the 6 key areas for the bail. And there's dozens and dozens of different steps, where most courses will have maybe 4 or 5 progressions. There are 62 in this course, and none of them have that feedback model. But the last one, the fix it, this is where I really like this, because my biggest problem in working out, I haven't missed a day of working out in 7.5 years. That means every single day, Christmas, birthdays, every single day, I've showed up to the gym, worked out, and pushed myself. But I know I can push myself a lot harder. And the thing is that it's really hard for me to show up every single day already, and then I have to do all this work about thinking what moves to do and how long to practice them for, and I don't push myself as hard as I can. I'm sure that a lot of you can relate to that same issue. So that's where these workouts really come in, because that's where we use how long to hold specific moves for, the specific timing for this, motivation tactics to make sure that you show up the next day. This is the final step to fix it. These are personalized workouts for your specific problems you identify in the recording guide that are focused on fixing those specific issues and making sure that you show up the next day. Oops. So right now, it is a handstand course. It's going to be $100, but I'm going to eventually be expanding. It's kind of hard to read, isn't it? But it's a master handstand system. That's the name of the course. But it's going to expand to private coaching. That's where I'd like to get into for, again, $500 a month, and then eventually move to advanced handstand courses, because moves like a press handstand or handstand push-up or one-arm handstand. But then we can move to other moves in addition to that. So planche, a bunch of other gymnastics moves, like an iron cross, for example. I'm sure all of you know that. A training program for that, using the same model. But then also can always expand to other sports by getting other instructors involved. I'm just a gymnast at heart, so. So current growth strategies. Right now, we are using Facebook pay-per-click because it's simple to get a funnel set up, and it's working fine. Eventually, I want to get into content marketing. That is what I'm currently working on scaling up. I'm creating a content plan for the next month to be able to test that. We can talk more about how exactly that's going to go and what my plans are for that. And then, of course, I also think that doing local events like handstand workshops for gymnastics gyms or handstand classes at local gyms would be really great. And I'm here today because I'm hoping that any partnerships or local businesses or something like a foot in the door kind of deal, just to be able to go and say, hey, this guy teaching this calisthenics course, you could introduce some new members. It would be a really cool thing. So really, it uses that robust learning theory. It's deliberate practice, which is the gold standard. I know that we really didn't go in depth on that, but the thing is that it takes care of the science for you. All that you have to do is just press play, and you're going to be getting the fastest results. You aren't going to be spending years getting a handstand. Instead, it's going to be months or even weeks. The second thing is the wide expansion possibility. So it's not just it's a handstand now. It's a simple handstand, but it can go into advanced progressions for the handstand, advanced progressions for gymnastics moves, and eventually other sports as well. The model is simple. Right now, it's just an online course. You pay for it once, and then it's done. But there are dozens of expansion opportunities for recurring subscriptions, for doing upsells, and for doing like private coaching, as I was talking about there. Leveraging other markets, because the philosophy of Waterstone Fitness is sport-specific training, which is that you should be developing specific skills in your sport to improve. That's where that deliberate practice model comes in. So a gymnast shouldn't be focusing on overall improvement. It should be focused on your handstand, because that is the foundation for your giant on rings, or being able to hold a handstand for your competition. That's what's holding you back right now. So your training should focus specifically on that one element, and that's kind of your North Star to guide you on your journey. And then finally, I have extensive experience in the field. I know we didn't really talk about this, but I have my degree in kinesiology. I'm a state champion gymnast, secondary black belt, dozens and dozens of sports, done a lot of them, instructed a lot of them. I've been a coach for years, so I've got a good background on this. And I've done video production, so the video side of this is actually pretty easy for me. I think that that's everything. Thank you.